As I said earlier, we've been in the business for about 16 years. We make a large portfolio of organic spirits with an emphasis on transparency and give back mechanism to make all of our products climate positive. Up until last year, or even part of this year, we had primarily been a bartender's brand. 80% of our sales had gone to restaurants, bars, hotels, where someone would make a cocktail out of our, gin, vodka, rum, liqueurs, whiskeys, bitters, and tequila. And that's what taught us a lot about, this category that we're entering, and hopefully we'll succeed in. So I'm going to talk about 3 things that we learned. Each one was interesting, mostly painful because we're kind of stubborn in the way we do things. So it took a long time for each of these to really sink in. But our journey began with first working with bartenders and kind of showing them, especially the bartenders that work in more busy restaurants that are not staffed with mixologists, how to simplify cocktails. So a lot of our spirits are designed to remove 1 or 2 ingredients from a drink, make those drinks able to be made at a much faster pace, and by maybe not the best bartenders under the sun, but just kind of normal journeyman bartenders. And we thought, hey, we can take this idea of simple cocktails to the public because they also love cocktails, but they don't like making them at home because it might be too tough. So we began with teaching cocktails to the public through point of sale displays in retail stores. We would make up these beautiful point of sale pieces where we built shelves, and all of the ingredients for a cocktail, even the citrus, for example, would be placed on the top shelf with a recipe that someone could take a picture of with their phone, so they could come, be enticed by the beautiful image of a cocktail, pick up all the things that would be on the top shelf, take it home and make a drink with it. It was an utter disaster. And we thought, hey, what are we doing wrong? Let's bring it in-house to our tasting room and figure out, okay, what are we doing, that isn't really ringing true? So for the next 3 years, we trialed this idea of, hey, let's simplify the drink and pay attention and ask questions to figure out how we can extend this idea of, simple cocktail, simple mixology for the public. And for 3 years, we taught thousands of visitors how to make these simple drinks. And to my utter shock, sales to these visitors versus normal tour and tasting visitors was a fraction in terms of bottle sales. And I was scratching my head thinking, there are people who come in, learn to make a drink, make at least one drink that they're really proud of. Why aren't they buying bottles and taking them home to make these drinks? And after a while, just talking to the visitors, one after another said the same thing. This is fun. I love drinks. I love cocktails, but it's also a lot of work. And guess what? To make my first drink, I probably have to spend $80 to $100 on a few bottles of liquor to be able to pull off that fancy drink I made at your distillery or that you're showing me on your point of sale piece. And it finally dawned on us that, hey, people love to drink, they just hate to make that drink. So that was our first big lesson and our entry into canned cocktails, that the revolution or the re-revolution that took place 20 years ago to reintroduce high-quality cocktails to the public through first speakeasies and then mixology bars, and then now pretty much any corner bar, stops more or less for most people at the home because they're too tired, they're too busy, they're too challenged to make those drinks at home, but they still want to drink them. How can we get it to them? By making it ourselves, putting them in cans and selling it to them through stores or supermarkets. Lesson 2 was what people want to drink and what price points that they will buy them at. Before we launched our first line about 1.5 years ago, which was a trio of spritz, think Aperol spritz with Americanized flavors like hibiscus and ginger. We tried many drinks to see which would work. We tried other canned cocktails, we tried fresh shaken cocktails, and participants, hey, what do you think this is worth and what would you want to pay for them? And we purposefully made some of them not the best drinks under the sun and told people that, hey, this is really affordable. And the second big lesson we learned there was there's a threshold of quality that people will not reach. If it's not delicious, if it doesn't taste like something you would have at your even neighborhood bar, never mind a really great mixology bar, you're not going to drink it, no matter how cheap it is. So, make them great. At least that was our takeaway. These have to taste great. It has to taste like an fancy bartender made them. Otherwise, people just don't want to drink them. It's like empty calories. Why am I wasting my time? This is for enjoyment. This is for pleasure. I don't have to drink to live. This is just for fun, and it better be delicious. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste, even a little bit of money or all those calories and alcohol to have a bad experience. That was the second big lesson we learned. And the third one was, how do we price these things? Now that we know that there's a threshold of quality, well, we can't, make up that quality with no money. So we learned that, hey, the audience that we're reaching, these are the folks that really love cocktail, experiences, whether it's in a bar or a hotel. They're willing to pay. And from the time I started to drink, almost 30 years ago, till today, prices have gone nowhere but up. I remember when I first started to drink, $6, $7 was premium cocktail. Now you put a 20 on the bar, you're not getting it back. And customers willingly pay more money for something that's interesting, delicious, a little surprising, although not weird. And, it better be entertaining, in other words. And our audiences, since they rejected bad drinks, the pricing had to be right. Right now, pricing, unfortunately, or maybe because it's early stages, is all over the board. There are things that cost $9 a 4-pack, and more recently, prices are going towards $20 a 4-pack. We've priced ours somewhere in the middle, $14.99 for our alcoholic RTDs, to provide not only quality but also some value. And because we're at a slightly bigger scale than many of our peers, and because we're gambling a little bit, we decided to price ours where, if someone buys a 4-pack, they can feel like, oh, I got a little bit of a deal because it's great quality, tastes wonderful. It's more or less what I would get at a bar, if not better sometimes, but it costs a tiny fraction of what I would have had to pay if I went to the bar to drink it. So third big lesson, this one's still kind of up for grabs. I don't really know where it's going to go. It kind of parallels the beer market. The prices could go even higher. Maybe we might see 4-packs in the 20s. But when someone is comparing their RTD canned cocktail to what they would get at a bar, it has to provide value. It has to taste as good, if not better. And we, for our products, we price them to a point where, it could leave someone feeling like, oh, I got a deal. I got a little bit of a treat because they're not as expensive as the higher priced ones, but I'm getting something that's delicious, enjoyable, and just as good, if not better, than what I would get at the bar. This is our range, current range, our golden state of cocktails. We make, as I said, 3 spritz cocktails, which are the first ones we launched. We felt they were slightly seasonal, kind of a summertime drink. And about a year ago, we launched an additional 5 SKUs, some highballs like the whiskey and soda, the gin and tonic, or rum and cola, and then a couple of non-alcoholic RTDs, which were a great surprise to us because they proved that someone could buy these at similar price points to normal cocktails, and they are selling as well as the alcoholic ones. What makes our product different are a few things, 3 points of difference. And this is what we learned in working with bartenders for 16 years and making our spirits essentially to solve cocktail making problems. So our big focus has always been the liquid. And it starts with smell, aroma. It has to be bright and vivid, which all of ours have always had in terms of the spirits themselves, but we tried hard to translate them to the cocktails. And the next 2 are parts where you don't typically see these, especially in the things that people think of as cocktails, the malt-based, the White Claw RTDs that are typically mostly smell, but lack body, lack complexity. And this is where I think the spirits-based RTDs can really make a strong showing. So we build purposefully a lot of richness and a lot of complexity in our cocktails, in our RTD cocktails, because I think that's what people really want. That's what people have been willing to pay a lot of money for in bar drinks. That kind of, wow, I'm experiencing something I've never had before. I can't make this at home. I'm willing to pay a little bit more money for it. It's that body, it's that turn on the palate where that interesting, beguiling smell turns into something interesting on the palate. And then it finishes clean for us because everything we make with whole ingredients and with organic ingredients. So there's no metallic aftertaste. There's no weird, waxy, chemically, lingering flavor. And this is what we use to create palate memory. So all of our products, from the spirits to our RTDs, we design so that when you have them, it'll be surprising, it'll be memorable, and it's something that you can't get in an alcoholic seltzer or hopefully in not too many of our competitors because we want to win. So this is our first big point of difference, that they have to taste different. The liquid has to be exceptional from aroma all the way through finish. The second and third points are more philosophical, but increasingly they resonate with younger audiences that are gravitating towards these kinds of cocktails. They're more adventurous. They're not just, hey, just pour some whiskey on my ice cube kind of drinkers. Transparency for us is full nutritional information. And we tell you, hey, how many calories, how many carbs, what exactly are you, putting in your body? And more importantly, what specific ingredients are you putting in your body? So we don't have secret ingredients. We list everything. And they're things you can pronounce because they're foods. This is the back of our hibiscus spritz, and you can see everything and be able to recognize them because they're not some chemical compound. They're foods that you would normally use to make an iced tea or cook with or make an actual drink with. And then the third part is USDA organic certification. We're not sort of kind of organic, we're really organic, and including the certification. So you don't have to trust us, you can just read the information and verify. And these are things that, as I said, they appeal to younger drinkers that want something that is not only delicious, but authentic and completely transparent and open to them. The last part is sustainability. We take great care to not only make you happy, but leave the world a little bit better off. And the core of that is, we start with organic ingredients that keep our land and water clean, but also we plant trees. We've been planting trees for the better part of our existence, 10, 12 years. We've now planted more than 800,000 trees. We generally plant one per bottle with our RTDs because they're much more affordable. We can't afford to plant one per can, so we plant one per pack, 24 pack. And these are things that, again, resonate with a lot of people, especially the younger generation. But as our world becomes a lot tougher to live in, especially with being on the West Coast, forest fires, droughts, and maybe on the East Coast, a lot of flooding, we can do something. We can't do everything, but we as a little company can do something by opening options that make the world better and enabling our distributor partners, our retail partners, and most especially the public to be able to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem or non-participants. Now, what has this done to our business? It's quite drastic and dramatic. I mean, from our beginning to 2 years ago, 2004 to 2018, 100% of our sales were bottles, mostly going to bartenders. Last year, when we entered the RTD category, that dropped to 75%. So 25% of our sales, this is volume, were canned cocktails. This year, it's 75%. And I suspect in 2021, we'll be at somewhere between 85 and 90%. So essentially, Mark's right. We have ventured into a new business. We're not just a distillery, we're a canned cocktail company, especially if you look at what we're actually selling and what we're likely to get into more of. It's RTDs all day long. And this is the investment that we've made this year. We are building out a high-speed canning line and have maxed out our distillery. So we're now renting space to put packaged goods, to put finished goods in because we have no room. We've gone from having a lot of room to, counting every square foot so that we can fit all the equipment and all the utilities that we plan to use for our canned cocktails, because we're quickly becoming a different kind of company, almost a different company than we started with. So in conclusion, what does this mean? To me, who began with essentially the whole bartending revolution, RTDs are really the fruition of what the mixology renaissance is all about. It's enabling everyone to drink better, enabling everyone who loves that experience of something delicious, something complex, something interesting, to have access to that anytime, anywhere they want to. Hopefully, in the next 6 months or so, our favorite bars and restaurants and hotels will reopen, and we can go back and say hello to our favorite bartenders and have their magic on our tongues. But until then, or even beyond then, we have RTDs, and hopefully the craft industry will step up and deliver their dedication to quality in this new category. And in the U.S., especially, since we began the whole cocktail revolution and we started that 20 years ago, quality is number one, and our peers in the craft space are the most dedicated to this. So hopefully, many of us will be able to make this transition and succeed in the category that is emerging and growing faster than anything else in the space.